Okay, welcome to our candidates night here at the Cape St. Clair Clubhouse. I'm Beau Breeden, the president of the Broadneck Council of Communities. I'm also the secretary of the Cape St. Clair Improvement Association and the vice president for the Eastern District Police Relations Council for the Eastern District Police of Anne Arundel. To my left is Pat Lynch. She's the founder, or a co-founder of Broadneck Council. A few other board members, John Joins, down in the St. Margaret's area, Britt Griswold over in Amberley, Mike Tajora, Rebel Downs president, Peter Bradley, Whitehall, down by the bridge if you don't know. Who else? Is anybody else here in the crew? I think, yeah, everybody else is out of town or vacationing. So I want to welcome everybody here. We're going to run a program, try to get everybody out of here in a reasonable period of time. We did so last time with 21 candidates. This time we only have 15. I will go over the rules a little bit, but first I will do the rules of the candidates' presentations and introductions after we have a presentation from DNR. We have Paul Peditto here, who is the Assistant Secretary to the Land Resources for the Department of Natural Resources, and he will give a presentation on Holly Beach Farm and some other assets that DNR has. So I welcome Paul up here. I would ask people hold questions until the end of his presentation, unless he asks for them. And please, after that first round of claps, no clapping during presentations, cheering, and that will include when candidates speak also. Okay.
While I'm walking, my name is Paul Peditto. I'm the Assistant Secretary of Land Resources for DNR. I'm also a former Cape resident. My wife and I bought our first house here, raised our kids here. We still live on Broadneck Peninsula. John and I are neighbors over on St. Margaret's. So we love this part of the world. I did just race back from Garrett County. So we love both sides of the state. I've got 32 years in with DNR as a technician, a park ranger. I was a wildlife biologist. I ran our deer program. If you think we're unsuccessful there, that's mostly my fault from many years ago. I was in charge of our bear program, much more successful. I'll take credit there. And now I oversee all of our public lands. So I've got our state forests, our state parks, state wildlife management areas, our land acquisitions team, our environmental trust group, and about 500,000 acres in the portfolio, about 1,000 employees. And I love everything we do. I love every day doing what I do. I don't know that I'll go out of this job feet first, but if I do, I'll do it enjoying every minute of it. So I feel like when Beau invited me to do this, I didn't realize the rest of the context. I feel like I'm like the lead singer who's starting off for Springsteen. I'm like the weak opening act. So I'm going to do my best. Is there any way we can kill
Dim the lights.
Some of the lights? What I'm going to do is give you sort of a digital tour of Holly Beach Farm. So if you don't know, Pat, I'm not going to stand on top of you. I'm going to stand right here. If you don't know Holly Beach Farm, because I spent most of my adult life on this peninsula, I was fortunate enough to get to know the folks who actually own this land about 35 years ago. In a really personal way. They were dear friends. My kids essentially learned to swim on these beaches. And because of that, where we are now at DNR, this is a really important opportunity for us. I am entirely biased about this project. If you don't know where it is, so this is Northrop. That's the big thing that crosses the ditch. And all of this property that isn't Northrop is Holly Beach Farm, except for these in-holdings on this side, which are private residences. So Holly Beach was donated to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation through a variety of different funding sources. The landowners at the time, Lanny LeBreau, at the time she was married to Stack Gately. So Mrs. Gately made the decision to donate this rather than continue to fight off the almost daily onslaught from developers. I saw the day they made the decision to donate this land, they had about a 25-foot beautiful dining table, and she invited me over on the way home from work, and she said, I want you to see something. And on the outside, on the bay side, were single-family homes. In the middle was a beautiful golf course, if you like those things. And on the Whitehall side were townhouses and condos. And she and Mr. Gately said, what do you think? And I said, that's the worst thing I've ever seen, but I don't own this land. And he said, we're tired of being asked to do this, so we're going to donate it. Who should we donate it to? And I was a young dirt biologist, and I thought, you're asking me what to do with, this $30 million asset? So I said, what the first thing that came to mind was said, DNR. And she said, no, not you guys. So we were off the table right away. CBF ended up getting it. They were the steward for 20 plus years up until 2024 when they made the decision to divest themselves of some of their land holdings, including this property. We responded to the RFP to take it over. I was personally grateful that they said yes to us. It's a little bit of a complex project because there's some grant money tied to this project that requires, Delegate, I'm so sorry, I'm like backing into you. There's some grant money tied to this project that required public access. Now, it's sort of scalable, doesn't mean you have to have Sandy Point public access, but there was an expectation and a requirement by the federal government that public have the opportunity to access this site. That wasn't being met for most of those 20-some years. So when we took it over, we very quickly pivoted to a highly prescribed, arguably constrained opportunity for the public to access this place. What that really stands for is there's sort of three zones, kind of zone 3, zone 2, zone 1, if you go up to the front, where mostly hunters have the opportunity in a reservation-based system, limits the numbers, limits the days, we know who's there, we know when they're there, to come and hunt during the regulated seasons for the purpose of recreation, for the purpose of making sure we're complying with that Land and Water Conservation Fund grant requirement, and for the purpose of continuing to manage the white-tailed deer population, which all of you who spend time on this peninsula know continues to grow. So we checked that box, we met that requirement. In the meantime, we have about 23 structures on there. Many of them did not get a lot of love over the last 20 years. I'll defend CBF by saying they didn't have the money to do it, so they did the best they could with their assets that they had at the time. And we have now leaned hard into that space of essentially making sure that those structures are safe. Those that can be saved are buttoned up and mothballed until we can get to the point where we can restore them. Those that are too far gone are being raised and removed so they're not a public nuisance. And then we're dealing with the shoreline. No surprise to any of you who live around here, this, a spot like this has, about a 30-mile fetch. So there's a wee little bit of energy that bangs against that shoreline every single day. They had a beautiful bulkheaded shoreline that in that king tide January 2 years ago took about 75 feet of it. We've since restored that. There's a whole bunch of beautiful restored natural shoreline breakwater type work that was done about 3 years ago here. But this is one of those things, if you do what we do for a living, Mother Nature doesn't wait for you to get to it. She keeps coming hard at you, and you got to stay on your toes. So we've got a lot of work to do out there. We are also cognizant of the fact that the public wants more than we're offering. I will tell you, I'll give you a little peek into the future. So imagine a model. So there's a dock. Let me move this up. There's a pier right here. Now, that pier was in good shape 3 years ago. It took a beating in that January storm 2.5 years ago. But imagine a model. We're working on that. That'll be brand new in about 6 months. Imagine a model where you can show up here at Sandy Point, get on an e-ferry, so an EV ferry with 30 of your best friends, and you paddle around here on that ferry, and someone talks to you a little bit about the history. For example, Goose Pond, 100 years ago, was mostly closed. This is a really unique asset. That's a freshwater pond that, by all evidence that we have, has never been open to the tidal influx of the bay. That's a really unique. In all of Maryland, those are unique. Sitting right there on the peninsula in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay is kind of remarkable. And then you come around the turn, now you're in Whitehall, you pull up to the dock. We talked to you about horseshoe crabs and oysters and deer and foxes and forest interior dwelling birds. And you get to have kind of a bay experience on an EV ferry. And then maybe, again, kind of jumping ahead of my planning team, but it's okay for us to be a little fearless and not reckless. Maybe you get to visit the LeBreau Mansion, which is, where'd she go? There she is. So this was essentially getting ready to fall down. We've got a great in-house construction crew that has substantially stabilized this place. There are very few places in the state of Maryland that have the views that property has. And this is our probably future caretaker's house that CBF used as an operations house. And maybe you walk down and fish the pond. So that's a little bit of the vision, the concept that we're thinking of. We've got a lot of work to do, but we feel good about the fact that we've stabilized it, that we're in charge of it, and we've met our commitment and promise that we will not create another Sandy Point there. For no other reason than we know what it's like for all of you. I know what it's like for all of you to try to get out of your driveways on a Saturday and head, frankly, east or west now. We don't want to do that to you again. We did some things at Sandy Point last year for the very first time in terms of using technology and a reservation system that eliminated long queues and backups onto both Whitehall, College Parkway, and Route 50. So we don't want to ruin that progress. We won't do that to you here. This is always going to be a very limited, natural resources rich experience, and because of that, we can't have the same number and the volume of folks that visit Sandy Point visiting this place. We're also respectful and cognizant of the fact that this is unique. I've been managing public land most of my adult life, and there are very few places in the state of Maryland where our entire entrance road borders in-holding landowners. They're right next door to us. And it really doesn't matter who they are, but it's a little bit weird, like when President Biden's chief of staff is one of your neighbors and you're trying to have managed hunting and the Secret Service is in the woods with your hunters, and really nobody really wanted to get along in those moments. So we're cognizant of the complexities of the relationship there. We want to make sure that our neighbors love us, they support us, and they help us deliver on our mission. I've got a little bit of an advantage there because I've known a lot of these people most of the time I've spent on this peninsula. So we want to continue that relationship. So yeah, we're excited about it. It's 7:15. Should I stop here and take a few questions if you have time?
Yeah, a couple questions.
Okay.
Do you have anybody ask questions? So just to kind of bring up real quick, the reason we had Paul here is we had many meetings over from 2021 to 2024 timeframe about what was going to happen to Holly Beach Farm. Was it going to be part of the National Chesapeake Recreational Area? Was it going to be DNR taking it over? There were lots of articles in the paper about it. And so we felt as though today was as good a day as any to get in front of a broad spectrum of people to learn about it, to give an update. We actually had Paul out to our council board meetings last fall to learn more about the progress of it all, and he promised that one day he would come and do one of these. And so we just want to thank Paul for that. But I'll take a few questions and then we'll get on to the candidates night.
Sir.
When will the site be open to public access?
Well, I mean, like I said, it technically is now. Your next question is, but I'm not a hunter, so how do I get on there? We're evolving that reservation system to accommodate somebody who wants to come out and bird. I will tell you, again, being totally transparent, if you were to, come out here in Whitehall Bay and drop the hook and decide you wanted to wade in and sit on that wet sand, right? There's a line there where it belongs to you, not us. It's all public land. We're not going to be out there looking to derail opportunities for families and friends to enjoy that limited access because it's a really sweet space. There's not a lot of, frankly, there's not a lot of beach in Maryland that is quite like this. So we're kind of having an open mind about that. So that's the answer. It is technically open. We do have it gated. There's a gated code there. Again, there's a lot of traffic in and out of there, and it is not a public road. And during the snows in January, we were plowing that, and then somebody would drive in who's not supposed to be there. They'd slide off the road. Now we're getting them out. So we're trying to minimize that because we don't have this staffed full time. Sandy Point obviously is. That's a high infrastructure asset with a lot of visitors. We do 3,000 people a weekend there. We're hoping to keep this under 30. So more to come there, but if look for from the water, consider it open. I wouldn't go there and wander around in the buildings. That might change the relationship and the conversation that day. But that beach is there.
Oh, we have a question here from Anne first, and this gentleman.
Sorry.
Anne, go ahead.
I think I understand that you're saying that the front door is Holly Beach Road, or would you rather us to be considering the front door as Sandy Point eventually coming around via the water?
We're never gonna have that road as a wide open public road like Login is and Tidings in order to get down to the Corcoran track at Sandy Point.
Right.
We can't do that. We've studied that already, and it's not sustainable. So public access by the water is really, that's optimal, or public access through the sort of the prescriptive model using the reservation system is the alternative. Yep. Pat?
There was a petition that was signed by over 700 people opposed to opening this up to the public. Are you going to have any meetings with residents of the Broadneck Peninsula where you would ask or present your plan and get feedback from the residents of this geography? Because they're going to be overwhelmed with public visitors who are going to come in for all the reasons you can think. And if you just had them in a room and said, this is my plan, our plan, what do you think and what are your comments? Are you going to do that?
It's a great question, Pat. So this is a little bit of a different model because typically we acquire a place, we post it, we survey it, and then we spend, frankly, arguably too much time, but we spend a lot of time planning, including public outreach, stakeholder conversations, to figure out what we're going to do next. This had the unusual anchor hook to us of that grant monies. The feds essentially said to us, if you don't get this open to the public, you're going to be in default. The former steward was. It became our problem. We had to solve for that right away. So we did that limited prescribed access to check that box. We are now kind of going backwards a little bit, and we will now have those conversations once we get a little better understanding of what it's going to cost to stabilize and what our opportunities for access will be. I love engaging our local communities to help us do everything from naming a place to deciding what we do with it. It's their asset, not ours. So this will be a really important part of the process. I apologize up front that we kind of had to do this one a little bit backwards, but we're not so far along here that everything we've talked about or done can't be reversed or enhanced.
I'll be very glad to work with you because I've been working on this for several years.
Understood. Yep.
One other question over here, and then we'll probably
So
move on.
is this included within that Chesapeake National Park umbrella?
No,
It's not.
absolutely not.
Was it originally?
There was conversation about that. We said if it is, we're out.
Good.
Yep. Not because we don't love national parks. This just isn't the right place for it.
Any other questions? One more. I'll take one more right over there.
Are you gonna have it for public access for bicycles?
Yeah, I think it's a great place for bikes. It's about an 8-mile loop. You can go in. If you're on a gravel bike, right, there's a great loop around if you don't mind chiggers and ticks. You'll take some of those home with you. So yes, I think the answer is absolutely. We're not there yet. Give us a little more grace, but we'll get there. And I think that's input we've already had. We know people like to use it. They go around the gate today. So. Yeah.
Amy, your last one then.
Okay. You talked about hunting. I'm going to assume that there's not going to be any deer hunting on that property?
There is currently deer hunting on that property.
There is, okay.
Yep, it's highly controlled, super safe. Look, we've been hunting deer in Maryland for 100 years.
With bow and arrow?
All of our seasons are open there.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Very good.
Thank you.
You so much.
Yep,
I appreciate the time.
The next 45 minutes or so, we're going to have presentations by each candidate. Candidates, you'll have a total of 3 minutes. At 2 minutes and 45 seconds, you will hear me do this, so not to interrupt you, but continue. You'll have about 15 seconds. When it hits 3, I will stand up. When you hit 3:15, I will ask you to stop. So you have some time, just like your constituents, when we come and testify in front of you, we get 2 minutes, we're giving you an extra 1, right? So let's see what you can do with that.
Hi, good evening all. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. My name is Jessica Haire, and I'm running to be your next state senator for District 30. And I'd like to tackle affordability, infrastructure problems, and accountability at the state government level. I'd like to give you a little bit about my professional background if I haven't met you yet. I started out in civil engineering, where I did really sexy stuff like design sanitary sewer and stormwater, other things underground. I even tackled erosion and sediment controls, bioretention ponds, and those things for several years. And then I put myself through law school. I'm now a practicing attorney, and I hold the government accountable right now, actually. I work on really large infrastructure projects all over the world, and I make sure that our government at all levels is following the required procurement regulations, and that the men and women who build our country's infrastructure get paid for the work that they do. I'm also a court-appointed special advocate for kids in foster care, so I volunteer my time with kids who have been removed from their home for abuse or neglect, and I help them find a permanent place to live and an opportunity to thrive. I had the distinct honor of representing District 7 on the Anne Arundel County Council from 2018 to 2022. And I'm very proud of my record there, where I was the lead sponsor of more bipartisan bills that passed and were signed into law than any other council member during that time. Compromise is not a dirty word. I'm really proud to say that, and I'm proud to have worked with all of the council members on various legislation, everything from assisting with failing septic systems to property tax credits for veterans, issues that really impact the quality of life for residents here. My approach in state government, really any government, comes from my dad. He was a teacher and then eventually became a professor of physics and chemistry. I get my love of math and engineering from my dad, and when I was in high school, I would go to him if I had a problem that I couldn't solve, right, with your homework. And I would just, I'm hoping for my dad to just give me the answer, right? I'm like 15 years old, just please tell me what I did wrong. And he would always look at me and he would say, Jess, you have to go back to basics. And then an hour would ensue where he would teach me, how to derive the formula that I had messed up and things like that. And at the time I was like, oh gosh, here we go, another hour. But my gosh, what a great lesson. You have to go back to basics. And we need to take that approach to the state government as well. So how do we do that, right? With affordability, with infrastructure, with accountability. On affordability, we have some of the highest utility costs in the country, okay? But we can reduce those. We can tackle those. We need short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. We can rely on affordable and available energy now while also investing in the infrastructure for the renewable energies in the future. And we can put together a plan that will do that. With infrastructure, the American Society of Civil Engineers ranks our energy infrastructure at a D+ and our roads and bridges at a C-. Okay, we can do better than that. All right, we can bury our power lines. Let's make them more resilient to storms. We can tackle, make sure that we're communicating with this community on all of the issues like bridge traffic. Accountability, my door's always open. You deserve honest, transparent government. I'll give my personal cell phone to anybody who wants it. I ask for your vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up will be candidate Shaneka Henson.
Hello.
I am Shaneka Henson. I'm the senator for District 30. District 30 is the far side of Baydale Drive. So if you are in Revel Downs, if you are in Whispering Woods, you are in District 30. And I'm honored to represent you as your state senator. I came to the state senate in 2025. I got there by way of 2 elections and 2 appointments. So I was first elected to the Annapolis City Council in 2017. I was then elected again to the House of Delegates. It was my second election. I was appointed before then and then appointed to the state senate, and now I'm seeking it by way of election. So I'll let you know just right off the bat, I did not come from a political family. Growing up, my dad was a pastor. So we would be in all the communities in Annapolis and in the surrounding areas, sharing with people the things that they needed, because that's what pastors of small churches do. Whether you need food, you need school supplies, sometimes you just need prayer or hope. That is what we did as a family. I will let you know, when I was a 12-year-old kid, that is the last thing I actually wanted to do, but I did it because that's what we did as a family. But I'm super thankful for the family that I grew up in, because they gave me all of the tools that I needed to be successful. I'm a graduate of Broadneck High School here in Anne Arundel County. That gave me a great education. I was able to take that and go to law school and accomplish my goal and my dream of being an attorney. I have my own law practice now. But the day came where I had friends who didn't have some of those same opportunities and didn't come from a family that gave them some of the same tools that my family gave me. So I wanted to think, how could I help my friends and neighbors that didn't have some of those same opportunities? So one day I wandered into a city council meeting and I was like, oh, this is it. And after sitting in the back of the city council meeting for several times of going to the council, I made my way to the microphone and I asked some questions of the then alderman for the city council. And after I left the microphone from asking questions, someone approached me at the end and they were like, you should run for office. So I realized in that moment that I could identify the problem, I could articulate the problem, or I could be a part of the solutions to the challenges that I saw in my community and the communities surrounding me. So that's when I first ran for office. And with your support, we have been really, really successful in tackling some of those challenges. We've been successful in making sure that we are doing some things that are just common sense approaches. Just the other day, Governor Wes Moore signed a bill that I sponsored. The bill was one I worked on with AARP, and it simply says that if people are facing a bankruptcy and they have equity in their home, we'll protect that equity in a greater way. We've worked to make sure that our child care system is revamped so that people have access to quality and affordable child care. We've worked to make sure that we're protecting and supporting our teachers, and with your support, we'll do more great work in the future. Thank you.
Those 3 minutes are,
Those 3 minutes.
they're short, man, they're
3
short.
minutes and 15 seconds.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back here at the Cape St. Clair Clubhouse with the Broadneck Council of Communities. I'm Dawn Gile. I'm very proud to represent majority of you, I think, and the Maryland State Senate. District 33 includes Cape St. Clair, much of the Broadneck Peninsula, Severna Park, Arnold, Crofton, Gambrills, Odenton, Crownsville, Davidsonville. I think I got it all. I was elected in 2022 when you placed your trust in me to represent you in the Senate. Since that time, I've been very proud to sponsor and pass over 60 bills, improving the lives of Marylanders, whether it be on issues related to health care, including lowering the cost of prescription drugs, something I was very proud to work on. I was also the primary sponsor of a very comprehensive bill focused on protecting your data online, which required a lot of work. I've also done a number of bills that support veterans and military families. I defended women's reproductive freedom in the Senate as well, and just really proud of the work that I've achieved there. I also serve as the chair of the Anne Arundel County Senate delegation. In that capacity, I sponsor lots of bills to improve the lives of people here in Anne Arundel County, including supporting small businesses, supporting our public schools, tax credits, lots more on that. I've also brought millions of dollars of capital funding back to District 33 for projects related to our schools, libraries, community organizations, and lots more. I also am proud to have the support and endorsement of many organizations, including the Maryland State Education Association, environmental groups like Maryland LCV, Sierra Club, labor unions, community leaders, and lots more. I've also received lots of awards for that work. Very humbled by the recognition that I have received, including receiving awards from the Maryland Military Coalition, from the Maryland Hospital Association, lots of other organizations as well. When I'm not doing all of that, I am a proud mom of 3 girls, ages 15, 10, and 5. So I stay really busy with their lives. I'm also the proud spouse of a retired Army veteran as well. He served 24 years active duty. I led organizations advocating for veterans and military families before I was elected. I'm also an attorney in my day job, and oh, there it is. And have just been very grateful for the support and trust that you've placed in me. I also have my chief of staff here with me. We've been very proud to deliver for you on various constituent services. If you have any issues related to state agencies, anything, issues that you bring to my office, we're always happy to be responsive and accessible. And we just appreciate your vote again in November. So thank you very much.
Okay. All right, I'm Amy Leahy, and I am a first-time candidate, having been involved in politics for a long time supporting other candidates. So this is my first go-round. And I'm running to be your next state senator in District 33. I serve on the community of the board as a board member of the Greater Severna Park Council, and I've worked with the Arnold Preservation Council. I'm also a member of the Growth Action Network, and I volunteer as a garden keeper on the B&A Trail Park. I'm retired from Anne Arundel County, where I worked in the Budget Office, Department of Recreation and Parks, and Constituent Services in the County Executive's Office. I've served as president of the Severna Park Republican Women's Club off and on for many years, ever since walking away from the Democratic Party about 20 years ago. I settled in Maryland 40 years ago. My children were all born here, raised here, went to school here, and I would like to be able to stay. And I'd like to tell you the story of 2 Marylands. After changes made over the past couple of years by the state legislature to change energy sources and move towards green energy and require payments into the Empower program, it is not uncommon for some families to be paying $800 to $1,000 per month for their electric bills. But according to a recent column in the Severna Park Voice, the current senator representing you, according to her, Maryland is in fine shape, poised to position us for long-term stability and growth. And meaningful, quote unquote, steps will be taken to lower energy bills and require data centers to pay their fair share. These are a drop in the bucket. So what it amounts to is that the legislature grudgingly gave taxpayers $12.50 per month on electric bill breaks for you all. We can do a lot better. I can do a lot better. So the flip side is that the power grid and the cost of energy has been in the forefront of the legislative discussions this past year. But it's not enough. We can do better, as I said. We need to really restructure how we're looking at energy in the state of Maryland. Our energy comes from Pennsylvania right now, and we're paying big dollars for it. All of this while Maryland is the 7th most expensive state to live in with our tax burdens. Maryland is bleeding young families as well as retirees who are leaving for more tax-friendly states and less expensive states. When the young people leave, so do their tax dollars. So this is just common sense that we want to make sure that people can afford to live here in the state of Maryland. Our schools have gone from some of the best in the country, despite the $30 billion legislated boost to our public schools under the Blueprint for Maryland. Our children should receive a world-class education with the amount of money that we're required to pay. So I will bring back academic excellence. I think that is at a state legislature level, and this is what we need to be doing for our children. And accountability is the key. Thank you. I ask for your vote. Amy Leahy for State Senate.
Thank you. This is for State Delegate District 30A, just so everybody knows, there are 2 candidates that will be elected at the end. There's 2 serving currently. They're both one sitting next to us. The other candidate was here at our last meeting, Bradley O'Neill, and so he was there. He was unable to make this one. I just wanted to make that fair that he was at one of the meetings. So Dylan, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Beau. We delegates don't take as much time as the senators, so I'll be. I'm Dylan Behler, and I have the honor of representing you for District 30A, representing the same district that Senator Henson mentioned. Just a bit about me. I'm in public service because I really have one core belief, and that core belief is that government can be a force of good for people. And I have that belief because of what I experienced when I was growing up. I grew up with a single mother on free and reduced meals as a graduate of Southern High School. I became a first-generation college student using Pell Grants. We got our health insurance through Medicaid. And because of that, it ingrained in me that government can be a good thing for people. And that's why my calling was public service. And because of that, when I was 17, I started getting involved in campaigns, serving on various boards. I had the honor of serving on the state board of the Sierra Club, on the Anne Arundel County Sierra Club board. Right now I serve on the board of library trustees. I've worked on County Executive Pittman's first campaign, helping get him elected. But most notably, I spent 5 years working in the state Senate office for then State Senator Sarah Elfreth, where I helped write and pass over 84 bills into law, but most importantly, helping all of you navigate challenges in state government. And now, as the youngest member of the General Assembly, which is a pretty cool honor to have, I am working every day to do 2 things, really. I believe that state government is so incredibly important right now. Firstly, because of what we're seeing at the federal level. Whether you agree with it or not, Maryland is acutely impacted by a lot of the decisions that are happening at the federal level. So I believe, firstly, one of our key responsibilities is to push back and do everything we can to protect Marylanders. But more than just that, I also believe that government can be that force of good. That's why at the state level, we're doing really important work to bring down energy bills. The Utility Relief Act is going to do massive work to bring down energy bills. We are doing work to bring down grocery prices. We just passed legislation this past session to make sure that companies like Walmart can't use your personal data to set personal prices for you if they think you're going to pay more for it, and bring down the cost of housing and other things. So that's really why I'm in this. I'm in this because I want to do everything we can to protect Marylanders with everything that we're seeing nationally, but also because I want to make sure that government is being a force of good for people, and I think we're doing that work. And as Beau said, you get 2 votes in District 30A, and it would be an honor for you to vote for me and my colleague, Delegate Dana Jones. And on top of that, it is just such an incredible honor to serve. So with that, thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. I am Delegate Dana Jones. I'm so happy to be with you tonight. This is a great honor. So thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Beau. Thank you to the BCC and Cape St. Clair Improvement Association. I want to let you know what I've done in the last 6 years, because if nothing tells you what a person is capable of, let's look at what the past has done, right? So in the last 6 years, it's been great serving, an unbelievable honor serving you. For those of you who don't know me, I am a lifelong Marylander. I'm a longtime Annapolitan. My husband and I raise our family in Annapolis. Annapolis is also where we are very invested in clubs and organizations and really volunteering. I have also been in the House, as I said, for 6 years. I currently am the Deputy Speaker Pro Tem of the House. I serve on the Appropriations Committee, where I have a leadership role there as well. I am Vice Chair of the Health and Social Services Subcommittee, which actually sits over 40% of the Maryland budget. I was unanimously voted by my peers in both the House and the Senate to serve a 2-year term as the president of the Women's Caucus of Maryland. The Women's Caucus of Maryland is actually the oldest women's caucus in the nation, even older than that of the federal government, and one of its largest. In my first year, we broke all records and passed more legislation to positively affect the lives of women and children throughout the state of Maryland. That record was then broken by my second year as president, where we shattered that and we passed even more legislation. One's to help bring down the cost of child care, protect women's health care, and so much more. As an appropriator, I also am capital budget chair for Anne Arundel County delegation. In that role, for District 30A over my 6 years, I have helped to bring home $200 million of our tax dollars back into our communities, investing in things to not only make our lives better and the lives of our children better, but also our property taxes, right? And everything there within. The Capital Gazette named me one of the most prolific law writers in Anne Arundel County. That was an unbelievable honor, but it is true that I have passed 41 pieces of legislation. Most of them, in fact, the majority of them have all been passed with bipartisan support. The majority of them also, my Senate cross files, oftentimes are members of the opposing party, because it takes someone in a purple district in a state that has many different nooks and crannies, as this District 30 has. I like to call us lavender. We have to be able to communicate with one another, understand all of the issues, bring people together, and come to the best solution for all of us. So I'm really looking forward to talking with many of you at our meet and greet. I surely don't want to go over my 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Again, it's Dana Jones. It's been an honor to work for you in the last 6 years, and I ask for your vote in the upcoming election. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. When I ran in 2018, I didn't want to overpromise. I said I wanted to get in the room and change the narrative. I said we wouldn't always agree on the outcome, but didn't you want somebody who was fighting for you every day? And I believe in the 8 years that I've been in office, I have delivered on that promise. District 33 remains my guiding star. It remains my moral compass. I'm still a proud artist in office. I'm still a pragmatic problem solver. I am the first state-level representative from the Broadneck, for the Broadneck. I'm a proud alumni of Broadneck High School, of Anne Arundel Community College, of Children's Theater of Annapolis, of Towson University. I'm always a Caper in my heart. Just don't tell Shore Acres. The last 8 years, I have represented this district with my whole heart through a pandemic, through the census, through the Broadneck Trail, through the shoreline restoration projects, through the Tier 1 study and the Tier 2 study, and 7 summers of Bay Bridge traffic. I have brought back millions of dollars to this district, and I've worked to improve Route 2. I helped create the communications team for the Bay Bridge so that you could get real-time traffic updates on your phone, in your car, on your computer, like by pigeon, however you want it. Cashless tolling, dynamic closures. I've secured funding for Goshen Farm and Whitehall and the Main Beach and Lake Claire and Children's Theater of Annapolis, the bike trails, the Vernon Park Library, Harbor School, Gloria Day. I secured the Broadneck Library as an early voting location because I didn't want this district to be disenfranchised if they had to go to Early Heights. Because I know, leaving the peninsula, Early Heights feels like the other side of the state. All while working on comprehensive health policies, leading efforts to expand behavioral health, public health, oral health care, and making sure that we were securing and expanding and protecting our healthcare workforce. I've supported local industries. I've organized community cleanups in Broadneck and Maga Vista Parks, supported local institutions such as our chambers, Opportunity Builders, Burgers and Bands, Our Minds Matter, Catherine's Light Foundation, Strawberry Festival, the County Fair, the Chrysalis House, the food bank. I actually worked to save the food bank. So why am I asking for another 4 years? In short, because we're not done. I've gone from the minority member of my district and an unknown in my chamber to chair of our delegation, to chair of the Public Health and Minority Health Disparity Subcommittee, to now the chair of the Health Committee. And I've been a national emerging leader in public health, and we need a health system that not only meets the needs unapologetically of Marylanders, that advances maternal health outcomes and supports innovation and science and ensures people can thrive and live at every stage and every age. And I believe I have proven that you should be able to expect a delegate to do more than one thing. That they should show up for public health, and they should still show up for the Strawberry Festival, for the Vernon Park Independence Day Parade, and the Goshen Farm Open House. And I believe I'm that delegate. So I'm asking for your vote this June and November. Thank you.
Thanks. Have that back.
Good evening, everybody.
Appreciation to the board, the Broadneck Council of Committees, Britt and Beau. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Kristin Norris. I have served our community for over 29 years as an RN. I have held your hands. I have talked to you. I've cried with you. Luckily, I get to live in this beautiful 21409 area, which is less than 10 minutes to Annapolis, to our state planning and legislature. With being that close, I can come back home and provide support to the needs of our community. I don't have to utilize and take advantage of public funds to live downtown for 90 days on your public funds. As your next state delegate for 33C, I am going to use my skills of research and triage to make sure that bills that are ludicrous do not go through. I am going to make sure that we all can see the glacier. The top right here is where everybody is. I'm going to dig deeper with accessibility, accountability, and affordability. What does that mean for all of us? It means accountability. I'm not going to let things even go to the state floor to waste our time, such as exonerating witches or putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. Come on, the women don't even have tampons in their bathroom. These are smoke and mirrors, and I'm done with it, as all of you are. Accessibility. I am a parent. I deserve my rights, and I will retrieve those rights back for all of you and for all of your children. I don't want a stranger to tell me what I need to do with my child. As a nurse, for over 29 years, serving this community, accountability. If you're going to serve on a health committee, you should be a health professional and not having to go somewhere else and have somebody else research for you what to say and what to do. Affordability, our electric bills are so outrageous, 60%. That's all you're paying for your electric bill, right? Nope. When you get your electric bill, 60% of that bill is your electricity. The other 40% is smoke and mirrors. It's air that somebody has put in there for you and your fees. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's ridiculous. Those fees are put on BGE. They've had to close so many stations. They can't even afford to pay for them. We have to. That's where your money's going. That's what I mean by affordability as well as accountability. At the end of the day, when you go to votes, what I want you to remember is Republicans, Democrats, left of center, right of center, let's come together, let's come to the table and work together for our community, not against each other. When you go to vote, remember, there's nothing porous about Norris. I will close the gaps between our community and the state floor. Thank you.
So next up, we have the county executives. There's 5 candidates. First one is Dave Crawford.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate your time tonight, and thanks for showing up. I'm Dave Crawford. You know, probably haven't heard my name too much. You've probably seen my truck run up and down the Cape out here with the fire department. I'm the chief of the Early Heights Fire Department. I also work Performance Food Service. So I understand how to run budgets. I understand what it's about to talk about tax dollars. I understand how to spend tax dollars wisely. And as we move forward, this is going to be a unique year in the election in Anne Arundel County. You're going to have different faces on the council. You're going to have a different person sitting down at 44 Calvert Street. I want to be that person. It's about what we do and what we do and what we do right. It's about accountability, public safety, and making sure everybody in this room can afford to live here, stay here, see their grandkids here, and enjoy what they've worked all their life for. I have to make sure that I do that. My sandbox will be Anne Arundel County. You know, I had the state delegates, state reps, they're worried about that. Congress was worried about that. I'm worried about Anne Arundel County. So many folks are going to tell you about all the things they've done, all the bills they've passed. Well, I'll tell you what I've done. I've gone from the back of the room where some of these folks are to up front because I see what we need. I see where we need to go. I want to take us back to what government was, right? It was founded 250 years ago on public safety and public infrastructure. And I hear so much and talk to so many folks about the roads and traffic conditions. Highway 3, Ritchie Highway, right? We've got to do something about that. I'll take that on. It's amazing when I'm out at 2 o'clock in the morning helping everyone like you, because that's what I'll do at 7 o'clock in the morning, to hear what the neighbors say about what county isn't doing for them. I hear you. I see you. I'm out there. I will be out there. You will see me. I'm not going to grab a seat on the 4th floor of Calvert Street and hope somebody comes to me and wants something. And that's not me. I will be out and about. I want to hear what you've got to say. I want to do the right thing. I want to make good decisions. I want to make financially good decisions, because guess what? It's my tax dollars too. I want to see it spent well. I don't want it squandered. And everybody here tonight, I think, is for a reason, because they want to hear what we're going to do. And if you aren't, boy, that's kind of interesting. But other than that, you know, my pledge to you is to do the right thing, spend your money wisely, and make sure we have public safety. And I give those folks the tools and remove the obstacles so they can do what they're supposed to do every day when you call 911. Outside of that, when you call 411, 311, 811, okay, that's where I jump in. That's where the county's going to jump in. The biggest thing I've learned about in business is customer service. And when you don't have customer service, I don't care who you are, you get pretty frustrated. And then when it's your money, which it is because it's your tax dollars, you get really frustrated. I will stop that. I will make us all accountable. And I guarantee you, at the end of the day, we're going to make this county better for all of us. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I'm James Kitchin, running for county executive. And just want to start by saying that Anne Arundel County has always been my home. I have my earliest memories are of actually crabbing on the bay with my grandparents. I was then raised in Crofton, where I went to local church and played youth sports and graduated from Arundel High School. My wife, Lauren, and I are very intentionally raising our children just a mile down the street from the house that I grew up in, and we have a great life. And that motivates me to run for this office. Anne Arundel County is a place where hardworking people can put down roots and just build a good life. But it takes hard work to keep our communities places where people want to be, where young professionals want to start out, and where people want to raise their families and retire to. And that is the work that I want to do every single day as your next county executive. My approach to policy is pretty simple. I believe that our residents are smart, that you all know your communities better than anyone, and that your voices should be driving policy. My administration is going to be laser focused on a quality of life set of issues that I've heard people talk about the past 7 years running for office or working for the county, the past year running for office, and really my whole life growing up here. It is traffic, and it is schools, and it is the environment and public safety, and it is the cost of living. And to me, it's really how all of those things interact and work together that make our communities places where people want to be. You can't focus on only one of them, but you can't leave any of them out. It's how they all come together that make our communities such great places, and so we're going to focus on them holistically. But there are things we can do to move the needle on every single one of those. We need to make sure that traffic studies work for our communities, not just for the people who are applying to get the projects through. We need to make sure that we are not building in places where we know our schools are already overcrowded. We can do it all. We don't have to choose between those things. Some of the things that make me unique for this position, I'll give you a few. One is just the level of executive branch experience that I would bring to the job. I have spent the last 7.5 years working on the senior management team of the Pittman administration. I have learned our county departments inside and out, the work that they do, how they work with communities, how they interact with each other, what they do well, what they can do better. And I'm proud to have County Executive Pittman's endorsement to replace him. I have worked county-wide, not just in one councilmanic district. I've been involved in community issues all across this county, from shoreline restorations right here in Cape St. Clair to working on traffic things with John Joyce down in St. Margaret's. We have county-wide experience, and I know that you can't have one-size-fits-all approaches to policy. We have to bring solutions that work for every community wherever they are in the county. The last thing I'll say is that I am the only one using the county's public financing system. If we are going to be serious about making the government work for you, making our communities better, we have to be serious about taking on the role that big money plays in politics. At the county level, that is the development lobby. I am taking that on head on. I will work for you. James Kitchin, running for county executive. I ask for your vote on June 23rd.
Good evening, everyone. And I apologize I'm a little late. I was trying to be in two places at once, but I'm also running for county executive. I actually moved to Maryland about 20 years ago, and I came here for grad school because I wanted to get my planning degree, my master's degree. And Maryland has been known as the mecca for smart growth, so balancing development with transportation and infrastructure. And one of the things I've noticed in Anne Arundel County is that I'm sure you've all dealt with traffic on Route 50, Ritchie Highway, Route 3. That's just the natural progression of growth, population growth and development. But recent changes has just pushed that into overdrive. And we're not gonna see the results of that for many years to come. And then the folks that succeed us are gonna sit there and wonder, how did we get here? We have the answers. We know how we got here. And so I wanna take an effort to make sure that we plan smartly. One of the things that we have to do is we have to hold our developers accountable, and we have to make sure they pay their fair share. You all are paying your taxes, I'm paying my taxes. Developers, we want to incentivize them to build, but we need to build smartly. Now, when I moved to Anne Arundel County, I realized just how good of a balance the county is. It's got a great quality of life. It's still relatively affordable to some of the other counties in the state, and I want to make sure we maintain that, especially the quality of life aspect. As far as education, I would like to see that we set ourselves on a path so that we have class sizes that do not exceed 20 students per classroom. And I believe we can do that if we work strategically, but everything works together from development, transportation, infrastructure. I also want to make sure that we preserve our open spaces. And I also believe in transparency and open dialogue. When we have development plans that go into our local neighborhoods, we need to have an equal seat at the table, because we know our neighborhoods better than anyone else. When I look out into this crowd, I don't just see voters. I see neighbors, I see friends, I see the very people that I am in the trenches with, speaking truth to power, asking to be heard. As county executive, you will have a neighbor, a friend, a family member in office thinking about you first, not the development lobby. If anyone comes to the county executive's office, the door is always open, but my question is, how is it going to impact our communities? How is it going to impact our quality of life? So on June 23rd, I would ask for your vote, but most importantly, your trust. And I know I'm the new face in the race, but I could switch places with any one of you here and you'd be in the exact same position. You're probably like, who is this guy? I have no idea who he is. I've never heard of him before. I'm just a guy that responded to his community's call for action. My community had a need. I was willing to step up, and I don't know what happened between then and now, but here I am in the race. So I thank you for your ears. I hope I have your support, and most importantly, your trust. Thank you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you all tonight. I'm Allison Pickard. I was raised in a military family and taught early to value service and community. My first job out of college was with AmeriCorps as a community organizer, and I put those skills to work right here in Anne Arundel County as a PTA mom at Oakwood Elementary. Not long after that, I was appointed to the Board of Education, where I learned firsthand just how important local governance is to our quality of life every day. I took all those skills and experiences and I ran for office to represent District 2 in 2018. And together with the Pittman administration, we ushered in not just a Democratic majority, but a supermajority of women legislators on the county council. We've been incredibly impactful. We've been able to invest historic levels of funding into our public schools. We've passed our very first fair housing laws. And together we've strengthened our environmental protections, including creating the Resilience Authority to tackle climate change. But the work's not done. And as your next county executive, I will be wholly focused on the affordability crisis facing all of our families here in Anne Arundel County. But in order to do that, we're going to have to grow our local economy so that we can invest in our shared vision and values that we all value in Anne Arundel County. With all the chaos coming out of Washington, it's more important than ever that we have a strong coalition of elected leaders and a strong local governance. Throughout this campaign, I've built a very large coalition of elected leaders that trust me to lead us forward, from Congress to the State House to the County Council and the Board of Education. A team of elected leaders that know governing is a team sport, and we're going to have to work together to solve the myriad of complex challenges facing us, but we also have exciting opportunities, and together we can really move the county forward. I really look forward to meeting all of y'all a little later when we get to mix and mingle. I'm not going to talk about all of the accomplishments. I just want you to know that as your next county executive, I have the track record of really getting results, not just for my own community in District 2, but for the county as a whole. I've been a very impactful legislator. I've been the key sponsor on 30 pieces of legislation. And even in these polarizing times, more than 26 of them passed unanimously. And I feel very strongly about how we build coalitions to get results. And I'm Allison Pickard, and I ask for your vote on June 23rd.
I feel like they should put footprints right here and we all stand right here, just like boot camp. For those that don't know, my name is Pete Smith. I am a Marine Corps veteran. I've actually been serving in the United States Marine Corps for the last 28 years. I am still an active serving member, 14 years active duty, and the last 14 years a reservist. I'm an intelligence officer. Initially, I was a Spanish linguist, believe it or not, but they canceled my clearance and said, yeah, we don't trust you, and then they gave it back to me, but then they made me a satellite communicator, so I wound up being in SIGINT, which is how I got to Fort Meade well over 23 years ago. It has been, working at NSA has been like the best job I've ever had. My daughter, who is 20 years old, she's at UMBC. She's majoring in computer science. And my son is 14 years old. He's at Chesapeake Science Point. In fact, my daughter wants to follow in my footsteps as well as her mom. We're both recovering addicts working at U.S. Cyber Command as well as NSA. And so that job has been a great job for me. And I love it because I get to serve my country every single day, which I do even now. In 2012, I was appointed to the Anne Arundel County Council. So I have been around quite a while from a legislative standpoint. I have passed over and voted on over 1,000 pieces of legislation. About 60 of those I've actually sponsored. And I'm grateful for it because it has passed, impacted lives, whether it's veterans. We passed the largest environmental infrastructure that has impacted our county in a generation. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been poured into coverts and things like that, or waterways to help protect your environment because that's one of the lifebloods of Anne Arundel County. It's part of our DNA, and I love it. I love serving Anne Arundel County. I've done things like working in the food bank. I've created a food program up in District 1 where we serve students every summer so they wouldn't have to eat because the schools were closed. That was a Leading by Feeding program. We actually started that back in 2016, 2017 to service those areas. We've created and donated over 4,000 suits for veterans who were getting out to go get a job interview. And I partnered with Zips Cleaners who actually dry cleaned 4,000 suits for free. To make sure those veterans were taken care of. That is something that I'm completely ecstatic about. We've also helped hundreds of thousands of kids for the last 15 years make sure they have a Christmas that's worthy of celebrating every single year with volunteers, hundreds of volunteers that have helped in the county. I say all that to say you don't have to guess about me. My record is very clear. I've been a servant my entire life, including when I was a crossing guard when I was in 7th grade, and I thought I was bad back then. It was a super job with that little orange belt, and they put it over me, and I just thought I was the man. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because of it. But what I want to do is, as I'm running for county executive, I want to continue that line of service. It is something that I've always cherished with my life because I literally came from nothing to get where I'm at. If you knew my beginnings, you would 100% understand why I fight every day to make sure people who are impoverished and are at a disadvantage have the opportunities to be successful. So Pete Smith, June 11th, that's early voting. June 11th, it's early voting. And June 23rd is the election. And so I would be honored if I can serve in that capacity as your next county executive here in Anne Arundel County. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Fiedler, and I am running for re-election on the Anne Arundel County Council. My roots are really deep here. I was born and raised right here in District 5. I graduated from Broadneck High School, then Salisbury University, and my husband and I are raising our 3 boys here. I have been committed to being responsible with your tax dollars, focused on essential government function. I have voted against tax increases and supported tax cuts because I know when you keep more of your hard-earned dollar, it makes Anne Arundel County a more affordable place to stay. In the last 7 budgets, I worked with my colleagues on increasing the number of firefighters, police,
and teachers in classrooms. I'm also excited to share that I've been able to advance infrastructure projects for our district, safety initiatives, supported the completion of the Broadneck Trail, and voted for the construction of the Cape St. Clair Fire Station. In a third term, I want you to know that you can count on the continued responsive constituent services, because at the end of the day, that is what we are here to do, is serve you in any capacity that we can. My aide and I have to date closed almost 9,000 constituent cases. That's everything from potholes to downed trees to missing permits. Anytime you're stuck in the government system, we are here to help. I wanted to share with you, there are 3 responsibilities. I mentioned 2 of them: constituent services, and being the final fiscal authority, which is voting on the budget and your tax rates, but introducing and voting on legislation is the 3rd component. And that's where I have shown my leadership and my ability to work across the aisle. In my term on the county council, that's 2 terms so far, I've introduced and passed more legislation than any other council member. And that's saying something, because I'm in the minority party. All or most of my legislation comes from folks like you, coming to me with an issue and me listening, because listening is one of the most important parts of my job. And after I listen to you, I have to identify a solution. And oftentimes, the solution is a piece of legislation. These are my bills that have passed. In this stack of bills, I can confidently say that every single one of them has had a positive impact on our county and our district. In this stack of legislation is one of the first battery energy storage systems to pass in the state of Maryland, which will shore up our grid when it is strained and make energy more efficient for you and your family. In this stack of legislation are bills that have literally changed lives of residents in our district, and one of them actually helped save the life of a 16-year-old in Severna Park. So I say all of this to share one more thing. There are changes on the horizon: a new county executive, an uncertain fiscal future, and housing policy that is going to come to fruition. I am asking for your support in November so that I can return to the county council and continue bringing the effective, strong leadership that you need to guide us for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Natalie Ogilvie, and I'm running for County Council District 5. I'm a small business owner, a mother, and I serve as the secretary on the Special Education Citizen Advisory Committee for Anne Arundel County. I understand that this role is not only understanding District 5, but also how Anne Arundel County fits into the broader needs of Maryland, and working collaboratively at every level to deliver real results. I'm committed to strengthening the policies we already have while thoughtfully developing new ones that reflect both today's realities and tomorrow's opportunities. That means focusing on responsible growth, maintaining and modernizing our adequate public facility standards, protecting our environment, and ensuring our infrastructure keeps pace, especially when it comes to reliable access in and out of our district. We must also ensure that we're properly funding our schools and supporting our firefighters and police. The people who serve our communities should be able to afford to live here. I'm honored to be running, and I would be grateful for the opportunity to serve District 5. I'm also very honored to receive the endorsements from the Teachers Association and the Sierra Club, among many other wonderful leaders that we have here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, you check your clocks. I think I got you right there at 8:15, 8:14. This is, since 2014, as either a member of the Cape St. Clair Improvement Association with Lou Biondi on my first one, or with Pat, I've been up here every time. We know how to run these. We try to keep them efficient, keep things moving along. Candidates, we will be reaching back out in the fall. There will be an opportunity for that more Q&A for that primary, a little more spicy during that time frame. We'll try to keep it civil, though. We do have some food over here. We have about 45 minutes till I kick you out, because I want to go home at some point. But we have food. Enjoy. On behalf of the Broadneck Council and Cape St. Clair Improvement Association, thank you for coming out, spending some time. Thank you to all the candidates. for the information and sharing. On the back tables, there are materials to take home with you. The key part to the elections is please do some research, look into things, meet the candidates, spend some time. You have still about 6 weeks to go before you have to cast a vote finally, and then we move in from primaries to the general elections. So thank you everybody for coming. That concludes our portion of the meeting. Enjoy.